Hi everyone. So I wanted to do a video on the distributive property and also factoring. My junior high students have really needed some help with this, so I hope that this video helps you. So I'm going to share my screen and work through some problems with you. Okay, so the distributive property basically means that you have an integer on the outside. Let's start with 2. And you're going to distribute that to every part of the equation within the parentheses. So I have to remind you that there are some integer rules that you need to remember when you're multiplying, which you can find in other YouTube videos on my channel as well. So the 2 is going to multiply by every chunk. And now when I teach this, I teach my students that chunks are separated by symbols or signs. They're separated by this addition symbol and this subtraction symbol here. So here's what we're going to do. 2 times 3 is 6. That has an X on it. We're going to then do 2 times 4. We have 2 positive numbers, so the answer is positive 8y. And now we have a positive times a negative. And that's whenever I tell you guys that my socks don't match. When my socks don't match, that's a negative. It's sad, it's a negative number. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Okay, so that is our answer. We do not have any like terms. Like terms is another video that I have. Like terms means that something would have the same variable. This variable is X, this variable is X, this variable is Y, and this has no variable on it. So there's nothing to combine. Let me clear that. Let's try it again with a negative number on the outside. My students really like to multiply by 2s and 5s, so I'm going to try and keep this video simple because I want you to learn what to do, not worry so much about your math facts. All right, here we go. So I have negative number on the outside. I'm going to multiply it by all of the chunks on the inside. I have negative 5 times a positive 3. A negative times a positive is a negative, and that's 15. We bring that X with us. Negative 5 times negative 5, 2 negatives make a positive when you're multiplying, so this is going to be positive 25y. Now we have again a negative times a positive, so we have a negative number and it's negative 50. We have no like terms, so we are finished. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to move into factoring. Factoring is basically undoing the distributive property. And so what happens is you start with something that looks like it was distributed. Let's do 6x plus 9y minus 30. So in this case, you're going to try and find some kind of factor that you can take out of each of the chunks. The chunks are separated by the symbols or the signs. And so we have a plus sign and a minus sign. So we're going to figure out what these chunks have in common. And I know that 3 can go into each of these numbers. So first I take out my 3. I begin some parentheses. So 3 times 2x would equal 6x. So that's my first chunk. My next chunk is 3 times 3 would equal 9. I'm going to bring that y with me. 3 times 10 is going to equal 30. I need that to be negative because a negative times a positive is going to give me that negative. So I have a negative 10 here. Okay, I always tell my students that if you need to check this, you just work through it again as if you were distributing. So if I would work through this again as if I was distributing, and I'd say 3 times 2 equals 6, 3 times 3 equals 9, 3 times 10 equals 30, and that's how I check my work. All right, let's try another one of those. So let's say that I have a negative 12x plus 4y minus 16. Okay, in this case, I'm looking at these numbers and I can see that 4 is a common factor. I'm going to take a 4, place it on the outside of my parentheses. 4 times a negative number gives me a negative 12, so that's going to be negative 3. Bring my x with me. 4 times 1 equals 4, so I could just put plus y, but for the sake of this, I'm going to put plus 1y. And now I need another negative number, so I'm going to put a negative here. 4 times 4 equals 16. Okay, so again, we can check it by redistributing. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. All right, folks, that's how you do it. So if you can't remember those integer rules, I do have other videos that have the integer rules on them. So skip around my YouTube channel and try to find those too. I'm actually going to try and make a video today with some equations that, that use these. So you're going to have to either factor or distribute and figure out X. So look for that video too. All right, guys.